Well, you're welcome to the sports segment on Pulse. I'm Benedict Osu. Ordinarily, we'll bring you the show in the studio, but today we are out here at Parliament, specifically the clinic here. We are here to interact with Dr. Prince Pambo. He was a venue medical officer at just in the Africa Cup of Nations in Egypt. He was based in Suez, and of course he's going to tell us his job, what he did there, as well as his general overview of what happened at this year's tournament. First 24-team tournament. It has never happened in the history of the tournament, and I mean the facilities, per what I saw, I think that Egypt did very well. I don't know if you share the same sentiment.
Yes, and even to add to it the fact that they had very little time to prepare for it. So we have said that the next country to be hosting the tournament really has a lot to prove. I mean, we didn't have one single complaint of a team thinking that their training ground was even not good. I mean, I think infrastructure-wise, they were very much prepared for the tournament, and it made the work quite easy for everybody, of course, but the logistics that had to go into making it happen was quite a lot. But I think the interesting bit of it was the fact that teams which were new and which ideally wouldn't have probably come through if it was still the 16 tournament, I think they brought a lot of shine and live into the tournament. So yes, it was a good one, and Egypt was very much prepared for it.
Away from the medical aspect, I mean, what would be your general overview of what you saw in Egypt in terms of the play and everything?
Yeah, I think before I come to that, just add a bit to the medical bit, what we do during a match day and all that. So part of the work as a venue medical officer was also doping control. So we had opportunity to educate the players on the fact that there will be doping control, which we did. So for every game, at the end of the game, 4 players were selected, 2 from each team, and we do take their urine to dope. To do the doping testing. We also had instances where we had to check the temperatures 90 minutes before kickoff, 60 minutes before kickoff of every game, to make sure that the temperatures are within acceptable limits. If the temperatures went beyond 32 degrees Celsius for the wet bulb globe temperatures, then you were going to call for a cooling break, 30th minute in the first half, and then 75th minute in the second half. So these are some of the things.
You saw some of those things at some of the other venues.
Yes, I think yes, there were Cairo. Yes, in my venue. Fortunately, we didn't have to call for a cooling break. We had very late matches as well, so I think it all did help. So yes,
it's good you mentioned the doping. I mean, for those that do not know what goes into selecting players for doping, why do you pick player A, not player B?
Right. So it's actually just do I say balloting or just random picking? So at the second half or the half time, that's when we had every player. We had their numbers on the cards, and we put it together in a dark bag, and then somebody just dips it. So normally I even allow the team doctors themselves. We just mix it up, and you dip your hand and pick any 2 numbers from your own team. So if you pick number 1, number 2, then they are the ones we are going to dope. That's all.
This is where you pick players that were on the bench in the game.
Yes. We in fact, most times, I mean, for some reason, they are the ones you get to. Once you have them as part of the 23-man squad, then they are all eligible to be picked. Because the point is that when you're on the bench, you could also come and play anyway. So we do not distinguish between those playing and those on the bench. We just pick out of the 23. Another thing we added in this particular tournament was that we had the free hand to choose a 3rd player from any team. The standard is to take 2-2, but then we had a free hand to choose a 3rd player from any team if I, as the venue medical officer, is convinced that this particular player, I need to pick him and then check. Nobody can ask me questions, and I do not have to explain to anyone. And of course, as a venue medical officer, you could also be there. A call could come from CAF or FIFA that this particular player, we are monitoring him for ABC. So please pick him and then test him. that can also be done.
Basically, it's not about how many times the person is running on the pitch, like what we saw of Wakasu. Because I was surprised when Wakasu wasn't picked. I think they picked Thomas Partey.
Yes. I think previously it used to be done. You just look at the energy levels and then you pick players. But I think having done that for so many years, it was realized I didn't really. Yeah, so it's when somebody plays for 90 minutes or sometimes for 120 minutes and you need to get a person to produce urine. I mean, after playing, you sweat so much, so all the fluid in your body is gone. So you need to take a lot of water. So in the doping control room or the doping control station, we have a fridge stocked with all sort of drinks, of course, nothing alcoholic though, for you to take so that you can rehydrate yourself and then produce your. Yeah, so it takes, I think the longest I've stayed was probably beyond 3 hours after the game. So for instance, there was a game we kicked off at 10 p.m. and then ended at 12 a.m. and that was when my work started, So by the time I got to back to my hotel to put my report and everything together, it was the next day, Yeah, so that is how the work is sometimes.
So now, away from the medical aspect, just a brief overview of what you think of Egypt 2019, the tournament.
Yeah, so I've done football, of course, not for too long, but I've been actively involved in football for quite some time. I think it was a good tournament, well organized. The teams came prepared, and I think for me, my take-home point was what in quotes, the smaller teams did. They played good football, they played entertaining football, and I think it was a tournament you couldn't easily predict the outcome of any match. I mean, right from the beginning to the end. I think Egypt, the Egyptians were very welcoming as well. My venue, I mean, you could see Suez was ready for everybody. Very nice people. So off the pitch, yes, there was a lot of fun. Though, of course, some of us, it was all work, but there was a lot of fun. Of course, it's a country with its own restrictions, and if you were not ready to play by the laws of the land, then, of course, you were not supposed to be there. But all in all, I think it was a good learning curve for countries hoping to want to put in a bid to host similar tournaments.
Well, that was a very insightful interview with Dr. Prince Pambo. A lot of things that I didn't know, and I'm sure you also didn't know. Now, you know the doping issues and all that, what goes into selecting players for doping. We really thank him for this opportunity. So thanks so much for watching. That's how we end the show. I'm Benedict Hosu.